there. My name is Corporal Lana Garvie, and I am a member of the RCMP, a regular duty police officer. I have been RCMP member now for just over 22 years, all posted here in Saskatchewan. When I was 17 years old, I graduated high school. I moved on to the Navy right straight out of high school, went to British Columbia, then moved on to Halifax, Nova Scotia, got some life experience. Growing up in high school, my goal was always to be either a teacher or a police officer, but at age 17, 18, 19, you're a little bit young, even though you can apply when you're 19 years old. I wanted to have a little more life experience. So instead of going to university at that time, I chose to join the Navy and go and see the world a little bit. So that is what I did. When I was 27 years old, I decided I'd had enough fun in the Navy. I'd sailed enough seas and traveled both coasts up and down, Canada and the United States and South America, that it was time to get my real career. So I applied for the RCMP at that time. Came to training in Depot, which is in Regina, Saskatchewan. I don't know if I mentioned that I grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That's where I was born and raised, and went to high school through all of my years in school. Came to training in Depot and then was posted directly back into Saskatchewan, with my first post being in Assiniboia. After 6 years in Assiniboia, I moved on to Unity for 3, Swift Current for another few years, and then into Saskatoon, where I joined into traffic services. From there, I promoted back here to Regina in Depot, and I was able to teach for a while. So that was where I really was able to meet my goal as a police officer and a teacher. So even though there was no formal training to be a teacher, the RCMP trains you to be able to facilitate. And then from there, I moved on to violent crime analysis in Regina as well at headquarters. Went into the cannabis coordinator position, which was fantastic with the new legislation coming out and the legalities around cannabis. And now finally, about 6 months in this proactive recruiting unit.
And what are some of your duties?
My duties now are to get out and recruit good people to be police officers, to join our force and talk about the great benefits that we have, the rewarding career that we do.
And what are some equipment and spaces you work in or with?
Throughout the years, I've worked in many different spaces. I mean, of course, general duty policing comes with everything that you need to do general duty policing throughout the province, throughout the country. I would say where you are going to have your police vehicles and everything that comes along with that, your radios, your firearms, your equipment to knock down a door should you have to do that, the partners that you have, the paperwork, the computers, the phones, everything that comes along with that. If you're in a traffic services role like I was for a while, you also have a radar gun to be able to pick up speeding and that kind of thing. Laser equipment that is a handheld unit. The printer and the computer that you have in your car as well, everything is provided, and you should be able to work in your car just like you would in an office for the most part, minus, I guess, the printer.
What are some likely unknown duties?
Likely unknown duties. I think that one of the biggest things when it comes to the RCMP is what people don't know about the RCMP. I mean, we wear many different uniforms, and we all do the same duties at some point in our career. When you first graduate from Depot, you come out dressed typically, not always, but typically you come out dressed like I am today, and you're going to be a general duty police officer. But then on top of that, we have our Red Surge. So we have our Red Surge, which is the red coat, as you guys have seen, the pants that are puff out at the side, and typically that was the ceremonial wear for riding horses. So you could become a musical ride member and ride horses and perform, which of course is out of Ottawa, but that's something that you could do. Some of the other things that people don't know, I guess the violent crime analysis portion of it is to sit and analyze through a computer system all the violent crimes that are happening. For me, it was in the province of Saskatchewan because everything has been there. But across the country, we do this kind of analysis, and we have that database to do that with. There are so many units that, everybody is familiar with dogs, major crimes, drugs, that kind of thing. But there are so many unknown units, including recruiting itself, that people are unaware of that exist. But since we have over 150 specialties, it is very difficult for me to name them off, and sometimes even still to this day, there are units that I didn't know exist, or positions that I didn't know exist.
What are the most rewarding aspects of your job?
I think everybody almost has the exact same answer when you ask that. It's about being able to help people, whether it's to help them rehabilitate their life in some way or another. The effect that you have on people, good or bad, can sometimes really be very rewarding. The opportunities that we have in the RCMP. I mean, I like policing, of course, but to actually be a police officer for the RCMP is quite incredible and very unique, just based on the fact that you can go all across the country and even on the experiences worldwide, because we do UN duty missions all over the place. So, I mean, myself personally, I have had the opportunity to go to Nunavut for a relief duty, which is a month at a time, and I've done that 3 times in my career. I've also traveled with G8 conferences and done work in Ontario, in BC. When the Olympics came to Vancouver, many police officers from all across the country were able to go and engage in some way or another and assist with that. So, I mean, we have a lot of opportunity, and I think that's what the RCMP is able to do in comparison to a lot of other police agencies.
So what are some of your stressors and challenges?
That stressors and challenges really come with your work-life balance for the most part, because depending on where you are, there can be a great demand. Sometimes, I mean, I've been in a lot of 22 plus years at this point. I've been in some fairly relaxing, maybe not as difficult and challenging units as compared to when you're responding firsthand. Dealing with people on their worst day is typically what we do. We don't always have the opportunity to speak to people in a very positive role. That's what I do have now with recruiting, is I get to speak to people in a positive role. But when you're responding to somebody who's having their worst day possible, that is very difficult. And to have the compassion and the understanding and just be there for them is what we need to do. But it can be very challenging and heartbreaking at times.
What are the salary and benefits like?
Salary and benefits are very good, especially for having that grade 12 education. I don't have a degree, so I mean, to make over $100,000 right at year 3 when you get to your top constable wage is very, very good. My salary has been quite high in the $150,000 for the year, due to overtime and being on call and that kind of thing. But right out of training, you're going to make approximately $65,000, almost $66,000, and then it goes up from there. Benefits are also as good. I didn't say that as well. Our pension is outstanding. It's probably one of the best in the country. So I'm actually, because I'm out over 22 years at this point, and I only have about 2.5 left to go until I hit my 25. I joined a little bit later than some. I was 27, which is close to an average age for somebody to join the RCMP actually, but I'll be 52 when I hit that 25-year mark, and I'll have my full pension.
What kind of supports and professional development opportunities are there?
That's kind of a 2-part question, because I mean, with support, we have all the supports we need. Given that we are in a profession that can be very difficult at times, lots, we have all of the medical, all of the dental, the mental wellness, everything we need is provided to us, and there's no shortage of that. It's up to us sometimes to seek that out, but really we do have all the support we need when it comes to dealing with our mental health and our physical health, and that of our families as well. It's really important that people know that our job as a police officer doesn't just affect us personally, but it affects everybody around us, and the support is there for our families also. What was the other question?
Professional development.
Professional development, as much as you want. We never stop learning. We never stop going on courses, but it is up to us and what we see our future. So it's all personal preference and where you want to see your pathway go in your career. So some things are mandatory. Of course, we have to update our firearms every year and all of the techniques that we learn to respond just as basic. But then on top of that, if I want to go into traffic collision reconstruction, I can go that route. If I want to be a drug expert, I can go that route. There's so many different things and opportunities that we have, and everybody can pick and choose.
What are the opportunities to get into the RCMP like right now?
really, right now it's very good because we are fairly short. It's not very difficult to apply to be a police officer. Again, given that you only need that grade 12 education, you don't need to go to university and to get a degree. If you already have that, that's great. And I'm not saying that education isn't important, but really you don't have to have that. Life experience is just as valuable as a education in the university degree. And that's my personal opinion, of course, based on the fact that that's what I have. But really right now is a time where we need people. We are very short. And so, I mean, yeah, odds are good.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this, Lana. I'm sure the students will appreciate it.